What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and it's been a hot minute since I've gotten to vent on my YouTube channel, so here we go. Because, oh man, I'm ready to strangle some folks. I'm ready to just fly over to London, find some of these players, and just like, idiots! But in all reality, I mean, 5-2 is actually not the worst result considering we were 13 versus 3 today. You know, like, when you've got one of your midfielders and the referee helping the other team out, and most of your players are just bumps on a log today, I mean, only losing 5-2 is not the worst result in the world. So, yeah, first let's obviously talk about the one thing we couldn't control today, and that is David Coote decided he wanted to be West Brom's second best player because somebody else fought him really hard for that one. Yeah, just ridiculous decisions. Ridiculous decisions. That's all I can say. The first yellow, absolutely a yellow. I mean, he drags him down. Guy was possibly through on goal. So, I mean, you could even argue that there's a possibility it's a red, but I don't think it's close enough to the goal to be a red. Like, he still has a chance of catching up to him. So where he drags him down, it's a yellow. And, I mean, fair enough. And Silva's having to clean up Jorginho's mess. So that's fine. And then Jorginho gives it away again. And then he goes to block the shot, Silva. And his block carries him sort of toward the guy, not through him, toward him. And then his foot slightly catches his foot. And then the guy goes down like he was shot. And the referee's like, oh, you poor baby. Get off, Silva. How dare you hurt him? He's so soft. Can't you see that? Get off the field. Ridiculous second yellow. Like, it was the dumbest second yellow I think I've ever seen. Simple as that. And what makes it even worse is you go back just a few minutes before. Pulisic, nice turn toward the box. Like, he's basically past the first blockade. Be the first man. He has a chance in on goal. Chop down. And of course it does lead to a goal. But there's no yellow for the defender that chops him down from behind. No yellow there. So then this soft little, I'm going to make the block, and then there's a little touch on him, and then he goes down. That's a yellow, but that one wasn't. And then go back even further in the game. The exact same thing happened in a much worse case against Werner. Werner's in behind the defense, goes to cross it, the guy goes to block the cross, his block carries him into Werner, studs into his ankle even, which is worse than what the contact was from Silva. No penalty, no yellow. So where's the connection? Where's the consistency? And that's one thing I've always said. If you're going to have a bad referee, at least be bad consistently. But when you're consistently bad on one side, but you're not doing the same thing for the other team, then you're not being consistent, and it looks like you're playing favorites. Because that is exactly what happened. Any other time a defender goes to block the shot and their block carries them into the striker, it's almost never called. You never see that called, much less given a yellow. So the fact that that was a second yellow even was just ridiculous. And, I mean, I've always thought David Coote was a terrible referee. Anytime I watch him, like any game, not just Chelsea games, I've always thought he's a championship referee. Like, he does not need to be reffing in the Premier League. Today just confirmed that for me. Because that's awful. And I don't know if he's got something against... Maybe he hates PSG. Maybe he hates Silva. Maybe all those online comments about how Chelsea gets favoritism from the referees. Maybe those trolls, you guys did it. You got the referees to say, all right, well, we'll turn it around. This time we'll be harsh against Chelsea. So good job. Keep it up, guys. That's what cracked me up when, we had a couple of calls that went our way. They did favor us. All the comments like, oh, Chelsea always gets favoritism. Anytime we're ever lucky with the referee, it's always those instances where it's kind of 50-50. Like, as a fan, obviously, I can see both sides. And anybody that's an opposition fan is like, no, obviously, the ref gave you guys that one. Like the one where Aspilicueta dragged the guy down. It's like, yeah, I can see how that can definitely be a penalty. But also, because the guy went down so easily, I can see why the ref didn't give it. Whenever we get the referees against us, though, it's situations like this, where it's like, oh, well, that wasn't a penalty when the guy went in on Werner to block his cross and got him instead. But then this is a free kick and you were going to send off one of your defenders because of the same exact thing. Or, if you want to put a guy in a headlock inside the box, it's not a penalty. It's just, there's no comparison. Our unluckiness with referees is always so much more obvious and apparent that there's some sort of agenda against us from whoever the referee is that day. Like the Arsenal in the FA Cup final. Like the one guy was just so convinced he was ready to send off somebody and he sends off Kovacic. It's like, okay, sure. So yeah, referee was awful today, but let's go on to what we can control. Ourselves. Because the thing is, when he sent him off, we're 1-0 up. We should have been 2-0 up, but we're 1-0 up still. And it's still West Brom. There's still a relegation side. We should be fine, right? If you're not going to fight to keep that lead, you don't deserve to keep it. And again, we had 3 players today. The rest of them, bumps on a log. And one of them playing for the other team. I mean, what was said at halftime? Tuchel, what did you do at halftime to change it? Because the last 10 minutes of the half were awful. We looked terrible. We looked dead. We looked like we had no care to play. And then at halftime, I'm expecting, all right, get into them. Make sure they know, hey, this is not acceptable. I know we're a man down, but hey, at least fight for it. At least fight to keep the lead. And if you're not going to do that, then fight to get us back in it. First 5-10 minutes, sure, we created some chances. And then the third goal went in. And then the fourth goal went in. And then apparently we got one back. I stopped watching after the fourth goal. I probably should have said that earlier on. I stopped watching after the fourth goal, so I don't even know. I didn't see the last two. And I don't know how we played after, getting the second goal. I'm assuming it was still the same. Because, sure, we created a couple chances, but we weren't being clinical with it. And then we were giving them the opportunity to score. We gave them the game in the second half. And that's the thing. Yeah, the referee was bad. He put us in a disadvantage. But then you fight back against that. I've seen some teams that are like, that's an unjust red card. Okay, we'll fight back. We'll fight so hard that that red card's not going to mean anything. I didn't see that today. I don't know if they were feeling sorry for themselves or if they just rolled over and said, oh, well, we're a man down. I guess we're not going to do it anymore. But there was just a lack of effort after that red card. And that's on the players that were still on the field. So let's go through them individually. First, talk about Tuchel. Lineup was not bad, actually. As much as I'm going to complain about Jorginho in probably a few minutes, I probably would have put him on the field too because he's been decent so far under Tuchel. And obviously without Conte, Jorginho and Kovacic would be normally your best two. But today he decided to show us why he's still Jorginho. We've seen a couple good games from you. You tried to trick us, but then April Fools, gotcha, I'm not actually a good player, and he showed us today why he doesn't need to be playing for us. So I fully expect to see Gilmore, and based on the fact that he wasn't subbed off until way later in the game, I'm assuming that Tuchel's still going to be like, no, it's fine. He struggled a little bit, but he's okay. But no, lineup-wise, I was okay except for one thing, and that is Werner. And I'm not saying that because he had the awful miss against Germany. I actually was very impressed with Tuchel's comments because I thought, I forget how to say his first name, but Lowe, the German coach, I thought it was a low blow. I got to find some humor today because, my God, I'm so pissed. I thought it was a very nasty comment to come out and criticize him after that. Because the thing is, if you've got a player that's not performing up to his level, and it's because of a lack of effort and a lack of trying, then yeah, I can understand criticizing them because, hey, you need a kick in the butt to get going. But when you've got a striker who's not at the top of his confidence right now, and also he's struggling to find the goal, but he's still working hard, criticizing him in that point just drops the confidence even more, if that's even possible at this point. And it just, I felt like it was kind of a dirty blow. You don't do that to a striker who's in bad form, but is still working hard. Eventually the goals will come. You just got to get that confidence firing because that has a lot to do with it. When you're low on confidence, you don't hit the ball the same. You don't finish as well. You're very panicked. So, yeah, I agree with Tuchel's comments. You got to build them up. You can't just destroy him like that. However, in this game, this is not a game for Werner. It's not a game where, at least at first, after the red card, it was a different story because then the game opened up a lot more, and it should have been Werner's game. But before that, this wasn't a game for Werner. This was a game for Giroud to come in and be a big body up top because they've got some big defenders. So you send the ball up to him, you let him be your target man, you get some crosses in, he can find the finish. So I felt like that was the one thing I would have changed from the starting lineup. It's just Giroud was much more built for this game. But then his subs. I mean, yeah, you got to bring on Christensen, and Ziyech was the right choice for that because he was awful. But then Pulisic at halftime for Mount? Not Jorginho? Really? And then Havertz at the end of the game for Jorginho. Really? Explain the logic behind that. Because what did Jorginho do in the first half to make you think, I'm going to give him some more time. I'm going to give him a chance to prove himself. And what did Pulisic do wrong that made you go, you know what? You need to come off at halftime. We need something else. Of the two, Pulisic, Jorginho, who had the better first half? Who scored? Who assisted the other team? And even if you want to go further than that and say, well, Mount's not really a defensive player, so that's why he didn't take off Jorginho for him. Okay, well, Pulisic or Werner, who scored? Who kind of dropped off after the red card? Who gave the ball away too much up top? Like, I don't know. It didn't make any sense to take off Pulisic because he scored. He's finally found a little bit of form under Tuchel. He's had a couple good moments. And then you rip him off at halftime. Well, now you've taken him out while he was in that good form. You've kind of halted that. And I was just so confused by that. And then again, you Havertz later on in the game. Why not Giroud? You need another striker on the field. Havertz has been okay in the past few games, but you need a striker. You need somebody who can finish, and Giroud can finish. So why are you bringing on your attacking mid for your defensive mid? I didn't get it. So Tuchel still has a lot of questions to answer for me, and honestly today just shows that he's not invincible. He's got a lot of work to do with this team, and we've got a quick turnaround, so he's the whole good vibes and positivity. Let's see if that works in a situation like this where you got embarrassed by a relegation side at home. Even if you are a man down, it doesn't matter. You got embarrassed by them. Are you going to be able to turn it around for midweek in the Champions League? Because that's where the true questions are going to be asked. And if he's not willing, or if he's not able to do it right now, then why did we get rid of Lampard again? Individuals on the field, though, this is going to be hard because I am going to be a little bit harsh on the defense. And some people might think it's unwarranted because it's like, well, they're a man down, so of course they're going to be under a lot of pressure. But I still think that you can look at what happened after the red card and you can say, did they work well, did they work hard, or were they just out there? And I kind of have an idea, even though I didn't watch after they scored the fourth goal, but everything up to that, I can kind of have a good sense of what their performance was like today. So first of all, Mendy. No mistakes today. I didn't see the fifth goal, so I don't know if it was a mistake from him or not. No mistakes. But we brought you in because we needed a keeper who was going to make the saves that keep us in the game. Kepa wasn't doing that. Kepa was making the easy stops. Kepa was making the saves that are shots right at him. We needed a keeper that was going to come in and be, you look at De Gea for Man U. Makes fantastic saves that keeps him in the game. Sure, he's had a couple more mistakes recently, but he makes those saves that you wouldn't expect a keeper to make. You look at Alisson, same thing. Ederson, not as much, but he's still a good sweeper keeper. Schmeichel, fantastic saves. Hell, Johnston, even though it ricocheted off the post and came back to Pulisic, that save on the free kick was a great save. So keepers should be making saves that keep you in the game. First goal, I'm not going to blame him for that. He was stepping out a little bit. We got caught out. Our defense was completely turned off. I'll blame them for that one. But the second goal, that's reachable. The third one, that was reachable. The fourth one, reachable. They're all within reach. You can get there for all of them, but he didn't. And I don't think he tried for most of them. So Like, why did we get you again? Because I've seen Kepa not try and get scored on several times. So, why are you out there? And it's, again, I've seen signs of him not trying in the past and being the Kepa standard where it's like, oh, dang it, I couldn't get there. I've seen that. Kepa brings that. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be making saves that keep us in the game. So what did you do today? Nothing. So he was worthless today. Espilicueta, typically very solid, very good at reading the game, very good at shutting down attacks. Didn't do any of that today. He was just out there. And I actually was defending him because, talking about like who has our best player been this season. I defended him and said he's very consistent. Even in games where the team is playing poorly, I feel like he's still giving his all. He's still working very hard. I didn't see that today. I mean, not that he didn't work, not that he turned off completely, but it felt like he just was there. I don't remember him doing anything special. I don't remember him being the defensive workhorse back there. It seemed like he was just so disconnected from everything. It seemed like he was not a part of the team at all. It was like he was just out there doing his own thing. And he's not normally like that, so I don't know what was going on with him today. Silva obviously wasn't on the field for long. But I find it hard to blame him. I'm not including him in the 3 that I talked about because, I mean, obviously he was only on the field for 29 minutes, so it's hard to really include him in the 3 that faced West Brom today. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to blame him for the red because first one is Jorginho's mistake that he has to clean up to keep from a goal possibly happening. And then the second one's just poor refereeing. So I don't blame him for that one. I honestly, I mean, you can't overturn it because the FA's stupid. But that would be one that if the people in charge were more reasonable, I would say, look, that's ridiculous. We want that red card rescinded because that is not a red. And honestly, before that, like I thought he was defending well enough, and I thought his passing was fine. So I'm not gonna really judge Silva, but Christensen came in, and I can't judge him. He was awful. He was back to what I hated about Christensen last season, which is no sense of the game, a lack of ability to read the game. I mean, just the amount of times that he got caught stepping out or he got caught getting beaten behind because he's not tracking his man happened several times. I'm just like, this is what I hated about you last season, and you're back to it again. Why? What changed? Is it because you got subbed in today? You weren't ready? You weren't turned on? So you just went back to what you know, which is being a terrible defender? He was awful. Honestly, I would have preferred to see like just no sub, just go to a back 4 today rather than Christensen coming based on how he played. Zuma had his moments where he was okay, but for the most part, just very sporadic, very all over the place. Didn't really work well with his other 2 defenders. He's just kind of there. It was just a really big lack of lack of organization from our back 3 today that killed us in the end. Wingbacks, completely non-existent today. James, I don't think I ever saw him get into a full sprint ever. And Alonso, I don't know how hard it is for the coach to look back at the tapes of Alonso and see how many times he could have scored or he could have created a chance for us if he started from wide and ran inside. Instead of being center of the field as the cross is going back post to nobody because our wingback is all the way in the center of the field. I honestly, the drills that I would put him through at practice would just be, all right, look, stand on the line. If you go off the line before I say go, you're running laps. Stand on the line, wait for the cross, and then go. Because this has been a problem for him. Even back when Conte first came and managed us, and he created this fantastic left wing back that we saw out of Alonso, and it was amazing, and he was fantastic. He still had problems running inside back then. It was just most of the time we would try to play down the left, so he would end up being inside, which helped us because he was getting an overlapping run around him. But now we're not really playing down one side or the other. It kind of depends. Anytime the ball's on the right, he's still tucked in. And he shouldn't be. He should not be all the way in the center. He should be out wide, providing the width, so if the ball does get all the way through, he's there to clean it up. That's his job. But he never does it. And today especially, we needed that because so many of our crosses went to the back post and nobody was going back post. So yeah, both wing backs awful today. I'm going to hold off on Jorginho because I'm not ready yet. I got to build up to it. Kovacic, man of the match. Commentators were talking about it. They said very few things that were smart, but one of the things they did say was Kovacic was trying to carry the team, and he was. I mean, his work rate is fantastic. I actually got into an argument with some Chelsea fans on Facebook because I called out Jorginho, and they're like, no, man, Jorginho, he's good. Kovacic is our worst player. He gives the ball away too much. And, of course, I went back today and I was like, are you watching? Are you watching today? Kovacic, I mean, everything he did was just trying to get us forward, trying to get us down the field. He's turning out of pressure. He's working hard. Didn't deserve the yellow because he didn't catch Robinson at all. But, of course, the referee was given yellows for tackling error today, so there's that. But, yeah, I mean, he created a lot of chances. Disappointed he can't find the finishing touch still because that's the one thing he still lacks. But everything he did in the middle of the field today, it kept us from getting just constantly run by. You know, it created a few chances for us, and it kept it from being constant just barrage of shots from West Brom. Like, he was the reason why. So I hate it for him today, but then again, it also does show this is why he's important. This is why he's necessary in the team, because of what he does in the midfield, how he keeps possession, how he keeps the other team from just running at us constantly. He does a lot that most of the time doesn't get noticed, but I think today, because of how poor everybody else was, he really got to show why he's so necessary in our team. Ziyech, I already talked about a little bit, but yeah, didn't do anything before he got subbed off because of the red card. I mean, honestly, probably did more for West Brom because of some of his giveaways than anything else. So, yeah, he's had a couple goals recently, which has gotten people feeling like, oh, he's back in form. He's back to being the Ziyech we remember. I've not seen anything in his play, just his general play, that has convinced me of that. You know, he's still been kind of iffy. His touch has not been great. His passing has not been great. So he's still got a lot of room to improve back to what we saw earlier this season. Pulisic didn't do a whole lot, but did better today. He looked better. He was working hard. Obviously, the goal is a result of him being turned on and ready for the ball to come back off the post. But he did create some moments where, you know, he turned really quickly, created a little bit of space because of a quick turn under pressure. So he definitely had better moments today overall. Again, part of why I hate the fact that he was the one yanked at halftime, because I felt like he didn't deserve to be yanked. And then Werner, you know, started off okay. He was working hard. He was trying to create opportunities. But after the red card, it just felt like his motivation just dropped to nothing. Because it felt like every single touch after that was just poor. It's not like he wasn't running. It was, you know, it wasn't James where he wasn't running around. He wasn't working hard. But it just felt like everything he did after that was just poor touches. I think he got the assist for Mount's goal on the second one. But everything that I saw before the fourth goal, I just felt like he was, I don't know, he didn't look like a soccer player. It looked like every touch was just 10 yards away from him, and every pass was not to its mark. So, I don't know. I was a little disappointed with him, not because of his work rate today, but because of the quality. Like, his finishing quality, I understand why that's not there right now, because he's got to build that confidence back up, but his touch and his dribbling has not really been a huge issue, and I feel like that was kind of missing today. So, subs that came on. Mount came on at halftime, and, you know, I thought he played well. Obviously, he got a goal, which kind of confirms that he was one of our better players in the second half. But yeah, he came on, worked hard, worked his butt off trying to create something, and unfortunately was not backed up by everybody else around him working hard. Like, can't count how many times he makes a run down the field, and he's got to wait for James to make the run past him. And he's got to wait for, you know, other players to get up and help him. So, I mean, it's hard to be a one-man team. Kovacic knows the feeling too. And then Havertz came on, and obviously I'd stopped watching at that point, so I don't know if he played well or not. I'm assuming by the fact that we didn't get a goal, and they did, I'm assuming that means that we didn't play well after that, or if we did, we didn't finish, and so Havertz didn't do what he was needing to do, which is get out there and score a goal. But yeah, let's talk about Jorginho. Yeah, he needs to go right now. I've defended him in the past. I've also criticized him in the past. I've been somebody that it depends. If he's in good form, then great. I love having him out there. He's a decent distributor. He keeps the ball moving. Sometimes he can put those passes in behind that are fantastic. But when he's out of form, yeah, you get today, where he might as well have just put on a green and yellow jersey. Because he can be the best player for the other team at times. And I think today, because of the fact that he started pretty well under Tuchel, I think that kind of gave him some hope, gave him a lifeline. I think today should be the end of that. I think he's kind of been on life support for a while. We need to just pull the plug. End his Chelsea career. Because that, I mean, what can I say to really sum up everything that Jorginho did other than he needed to be wearing a different jersey today? It's just that simple. The giveaways that led to goals, that led to Silva being yellow carded at first and eventually sent off. They're not just giveaways where you're trying to make something happen and then you just, oh crap, it's a little off and it gave it away. These are, you're not under pressure, you're in your backfield, and you give it straight to the other team. Like, how do you do that? Not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times. He did it multiple times today. How do you do that? As a midfielder who's supposed to be a fantastic passer, who gets all these praises and laudits for his passing. Did I say laudits? Plaudits? I don't even know. I'm pissed. I don't care about the word. How do you do that? Because I've seen so much talk about Jorginho coming into this game. It was actually kind of hilarious how much talk I saw about Jorginho, how fantastic he's been, how he's Chelsea's best player, all of this stuff. By the stats, I mean, Jorginho's their best player this season. I mean, you just got to look at the stats. You can't look at the stats. Stats don't matter. You look at performances. You look at the play. You look at what does the player bring. Most of the time, he just brings kind of a consistency of keeping the ball in the midfield, keeping it moving in the midfield. Occasionally pops up with a great pass. But then he also brings games like today, where he will literally assist the other team. Defensively, he... oh man, I still find it funny sometimes whenever he's one of our last line of defense on corners, because I'm thinking, should we just go ahead and walk the ball into the goal for them? Because as soon as he's one-on-one with a player, all I can think is, well, here comes the counterattack. And sure enough, turn, he steps in, misses the ball, misses the player, and he's beat. And he's not catching up with speed. I can tell you that. I honestly think I could outrun him, and I'm not really that fast. So, yeah, I truly, if he plays again, I don't know how you can justify it. I don't know how Tuchel can justify playing him again after today. Like, there's no reason for it. There's no excuse. There's nothing you can say that will make me go, oh, okay, that's why you're playing Jorginho? Okay, I understand. Nothing you say is going to convince me of that. Even if he had, like, some sort of family issue, and you're just like, well, we got to play him, because he just went through this hard time, so we got to give him some time. Like, no. I'm sorry. We want to win. And anytime Jorginho's in the field, there's always a concern that we can have a game like today, where we just get beat in the midfield because he is useless and he can't hold down the midfield. So, yeah, I mean, I could go into really, really critical detail and break down everything he did wrong today. Honestly, if I were a better editor, I would totally just grab clips and I would throw them up onto a screen. I'd be like, all right, so here's why Jorginho should not be on the field. But I'm not. Obviously, you could tell by my videos. I'm not good at editing. I don't ever edit. So I can't do all of that, like, visually. But I mean, surely everybody that watched this game has to go, okay, Jorginho can't play again. Like, this, at some point you gotta say enough is enough. He's had so many bad games for us in the past, and today was like, again, you might as well have been playing for West Brom. So, I don't know. Honestly, he's probably gonna play again midweek. I'm just gonna facepalm, and then he's probably gonna be just his normal decent, where he's just kind of there and he's not causing us any issues, but he also isn't doing anything to help us. And then people are gonna be like, "Oh, see, Jorginho's fine. He completed the most amount of passes on the field, and most of them were backwards, sure, but hey, he kept possession, right?" I don't know. I'm sick of giving players a chance, and then when they don't fulfill that chance, like with Alonso, he had his chance. He stepped up in a couple games, and now he's gone back to the same old, same old. It's like, well, now you're just giving him time for no other reason than to give him time. And at some point, you got to stop saying, well, we're doing it because we got to get him back going again. We got to get his feet back under him. You got to give him time so they can grow into that confidence. It's like, no, at some point, you just got to say, look, I've given you time. You've not shown me reasons why I should play you. Sorry, but you're benched. And if they want to work hard and they finally get back into that, then fantastic. Good for them. I'll happily say I'm glad. But based on today's performance, unless, again, maybe something was just going on with him. Maybe he ate something that just put him off today. Unless there was some reason why Jorginho was so bad today, he shouldn't play again this midweek. He should not play again in the next few weeks. Even if Conte's not back, you put Gilmore in there. Gilmore is not going to give the ball away like that. He's not just going to pass it to the other team under no pressure like that. And he's going to do more defensively. He's a bit quicker than Jorginho is. He may be smaller, but he's a bit quicker. So, yeah, anybody who defended Jorginho, the people that commented on my comment whenever I hit out at him and I was like, I'm not a big fan of him. Anybody who's like, oh, you just don't get it. No. Clearly, you and Tuchel and anybody who's trusted Jorginho in the past, sorry. Lampard, when he went on his run of trusting Jorginho, you guys don't get it. He's not got the physical capability. He's not got the mental capability to play at a high level like the Premier League. He may do fine in Italy. That's fine. Go back to Italy where you can succeed perfectly there. But here in the Premier League, it's rough. It's tough. You can't just goof around and play slow. I've also realized I've not eaten yet today, so probably not a good combination of being tired, angry, hungry. It's all coming together, and now I'm ready to book a flight to London and just cough in everybody's faces and be like, I've got COVID. Anyways, but yeah, that may have been a cruel joke. I don't care. I'm too tired to care at this moment. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts in the game? Do you agree, disagree? If you disagree, I don't know, power to you for being a cheerleader, but my God, today was awful. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. We'll talk about, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. Hopefully, see you at a better next game. Peace out.